Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Midday PTA. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Hopefully everybody had an awesome day. I'm sure you were sleep deprived, just like me, staying up late watching that overtime thriller between the Cowboys and the Packers. It's funny, kind of feels like a loss. At one point during the day, I was like, Clayton, we did tie that game. Like, it's not like the end of the world, right? Obviously, you run a score up 40-40, ends up being the final. What an exciting game to watch, man. I came away as I got my morning going today thinking, God, I love football. It was just an absolute blast watching those two teams shoot it out down there in Dallas on the road, obviously. Just man, it was so much fun to watch. It really was. And I know there's some fans that are kind of, we expected to boat race some guys, 6.5-point favorites on the road. We talk about it every week. You know, things can get crabby there on the road. When we did the game plan, one of the things we talked about all week long was you don't want to get into a shootout with Dallas. You want to play the clock control game. You want to try to establish the run, and they did try to do that, and it was like beating your head against the wall at some times. I heard some people talk about how bad the Cowboys or defense was, right? Their pass defense, yes. Their run defense was top 10 in yards per carry allowed. I think they were like 7th or 8th at like 3.7 a clip, something like that. So with that being said, we're going to talk about Jordan Love, though, in this quick little video. We're still going live tonight, 6:30 p.m. Central for PTA Live. We're going to be giving you guys all the PFF grades from that game. We're going to kind of reset going into the bye week. We'll be showing film as we get a little deeper into the bye week. We're also going to put a highlight reel together of the first quarter of the season too, and going to have a lot of cool content coming out here for you. But we're going to talk today about Jordan Love. Is he elite? Is he a top 5 quarterback? You know, there's some people that would say, heck no, there's no way he is, right? There's others, when you look at the metrics, when we go through this information, I don't know, by the time we finish this video, I don't know how you can look at it and go, no, he's not top 5. Again, that doesn't mean he's going to be top 5 at the end of the season. However, the way he's playing right now, pretty darn impressive. So we're going to do that. Before we do, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit that subscribe button, hit like. If you're new here, welcome into PTA. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on the daily. If you stayed up late with us last night, we had a lot of good laughs in the post-game show. A little sleep deprived, but still a blast. So if you're looking for that type of live content geared around the Packers, and like I said, daily content, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live. I see everybody following in the chat. Appreciate y'all joining us. Let's jump into it. Jordan Love is a top 5 quarterback. Now, some are going like right here in the chat already, Josh Martin, Love is not elite. He's average. All right. So there's Josh Martin's take. He's average. So let's dive into it, Josh. Let's see if give me an explanation in the chat why you think he's average. It looks like you already said something here. His decision-making and urgency at key moments says he's not elite. That is the most vague statement I've ever seen, Josh. What does that mean? His decision-making and urgency at key moments says he's not elite. He drove you down what should have been the game-winning score last week against arguably the best defense in the league, definitely a top 3 defense in the league in Cleveland. He takes them right down the field with the game on the line. His decision-making and urgency at key is that not the key moment? So I got to respectfully disagree with that, man. So let's jump into the information here. And again, you guys tell me if he's not a top 5 quarterback. As you can see earlier this afternoon, we ran through, looked at some stats, looked at the rankings as we've now got a quarter of the season under our belt. I was wanting to do this after 2 weeks, but I'm going, slow down. Let's get 4 games in. This is how coaches look at the season. They look at a quarterly evaluation, if you will. That's how they typically self-scout. When you're scouting for a team coming in, you look at their last 4 game saturation and your last 2 head-to-heads as well, right? So here is how Love is ranking throughout the key statistics so far in this young season, right? Through 4 games. PFF grade. PFF says he's the 6th highest graded quarterback in the National Football League. Yards, all right, passing yards. Some people, he dinks and dunks. Passing yards. He's 5th in the league in passing yards. Touchdowns, he's 6th in passing touchdowns. Interceptions, he's third, meaning the third least amount. He's actually tied for third. He's only thrown one interception, right? I want to say it was 8 touchdowns to 1 interception, right? Guys, you understand that if you multiply that times 4 plus 1 game, if you want to tack that in there as well, right? You're looking at a 32 touchdown, 4 interception season for Jordan Love. Those are MVP type numbers. That's not including the rushing statistics, as you've seen last night. Well, I think this is the second week in a row where he's tucked that ball down and done a great job picking up yards that otherwise wouldn't have been there, that some quarterbacks in the league can't do, especially guys that can't throw as well as Jordan Love is throwing the football right now. I thought he was extremely accurate last night. That's another thing, too, that we don't have in, but we do have completion percentage over expected. I think he's at 69% completion percentage right now. One of the things that we've talked about with Jordan Love coming into this season and even coming into last season is like, man, you can see the arm talent, right? He's a little green. It's going to take some, he's just going to get some snaps. He's got to get some snaps under his belt to make sure that he's making the right plays at the right time, all that good stuff. But his accuracy was a little bit off, throwing off platform. His mechanics are a little bit of a mess, this and that. Got 69%. I always use this as a measuring stick. Aaron Rodgers' career completion percentage, first ballot Hall of Famer, arguably the best thrower of the football in the history of the game. And I think we would all agree Aaron Rodgers had much better targets than Jordan Love has had up to this point. If you don't believe me, who on this roster would you take over Jordy Nelson in his prime? Who on this roster would you take over Greg Jennings in his prime? Who on this roster would you take over Donald Driver when Aaron first took over? Donald Driver still had a couple of good years left in him right there as well. James Jones, it takes you getting 3, 4, 5 deep on the depth chart of the receivers that Aaron had in order to go, I would probably take Jayden Reed over that guy or this guy over that. Here's the crazy thing. Jordan Love doesn't have Jayden Reed, his leading receiver from the last 2 years. He's out. He's injured. So he doesn't have him. Christian Watson, who some would say is better than Jayden Reed and is the true number 1 wide receiver on this team, he doesn't have Christian Watson. So he's down to the third choice already. And I'm telling you, man, when you look at how he spread the ball around, I think he hit 10 different receivers last night. Think about that. 10 different receivers that he completed passes to. We'll talk about that here in a minute. So again, completion percentage, the accuracy has been fixed. It doesn't mean he's going to be perfect from here on out. Doesn't mean he's ever going to be 90% completion percentage. Nobody hardly ever is, if they ever have, in the National Football League on a consistent basis. But what it does mean is he's 4% higher than arguably the best quarterback in franchise history in Aaron Rodgers in terms of his career completion percentage at 69%. So that checks the box for me big time, right? And again, now what you're seeing with Jordan is he's protecting the football. He had one bad throw, one bad decision last week, and I know many people, the majority of people, blame Matt LaFleur for not running the ball there. It is funny. I wish the fans that say Matt LaFleur is too aggressive could meet the fans that say Matt LaFleur plays it too safe. I love to see a world where they could come together and just hear each other out, because it's absolutely hilarious. In certain situations, he might be a little conservative. In certain situations, like I was very vocal last night, he was too aggressive in the middle late, right before halftime. You had a 14-point swing in the middle late while losing the turnover differential as well. During that middle late is when you had the obviously the turnover there, trying to be too aggressive rather than play the game that was in front of you. But nonetheless, interceptions, he's got the third least amount with 1 interception. Passer rating, he is third in the league in passer rating right now. Yards per attempt, many times you look at quarterbacks and they'll have high efficiency numbers, right? High completion percentage, all this stuff, right? And they'll have a whole bunch of just short touchdown passes, things like that, and the numbers look a little bit better than they are. Yards per attempt, he's 4th in the league right now in yards per attempt. So he's pushing the ball down the field. Where do you see the average yards per reception from the game last night, which was really impressive as well? All right. A CPOE, completion percentage over expected, an advanced metric, analytic in completion percentage. He is 5th in that statistical category right now, ahead of former MVP players like your Pat Mahomes, your Josh Allen's, players like that. Passing EPA, so just total EPA, expected points added on passing. He's 3rd in the league in that metric. And then EPA per dropback is a big one. That's kind of the grand poobah right now in advanced metrics across the NFL in terms of quarterback play. His EPA per dropback, 2nd best in the league. So if you take all of those important analytics, right, you've got PFF grade, yards, touchdowns, interceptions, passer rating, yards per attempt, CPOE, passing EPA, and EPA per dropback, and you average that out, he averages out to 4.1 across the league. Guys, he is officially a top 5 quarterback. I don't know how many other stats you would want to pull. It'd be real easy to just go, give me passer rating and PFF grade, right? That'll tell the story. Or maybe passer rating and PFF grade along with passing EPA. That would tell the story. Guys, we've got, again, how many categories there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 or 9 different categories. Jordan Love right now, this could change by the end of the year. That wouldn't surprise me either. You guys know it's a long season. Things can go haywire. But as it sits right now, Jordan Love is a top 5 quarterback. Look at this spray chart from last night, guys. My man was cooking with Crisco. 31 of 43, 337 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Look at the CPOE, plus 10.6%. He has no idea how good that was. I mean, my man was on fire, moving the ball around last night. Not only do you see the spray chart all over the field, right? And just taking what the defense, what this tells you guys is he's seeing the entire field really well right now. And I'm hoping coming out of a bye week, if you somehow, some way, let's say Christian Watson's healthy, I don't think we'll see him back to probably at least week 7 or 8, something like that. But let's say when you do get Christian Watson back, let's say when you do get Jaden Reed back a little later in the year, here's an idea. We were down 2 starting offensive linemen last night, right? So when you get Zach Tom back, the guy that we just paid a buku amount of money because he's that good of a right tackle, when you get him back on Jordan Love's front side. And then, of course, you get Aaron Banks back and you stabilize that offensive line. He's going to get better as well. The running game is going to get better as well, although the running game did pick up pretty nice last night, considering the Cowboys have really been keying in on stopping the run here of lately. So, again, Jordan, spray chart all over the field, just moving the ball around, taking what the defense gives you, all that. And, again, that CPOE of plus 10.6%. Now, look at this, guys. This was the receiving statistics from last night. Josh Jacobs, 4 catches for 71 yards. Romeo Doubs, 6 catches for 58 yards. Matthew Golden, 5 catches for 58 yards. Tucker Kraft, 5 catches for 56 yards. Guys, he had 4 different receivers with 5 receptions or more and 50-plus yards or more. You talk about moving the ball around and playing within Matt LaFleur's system. Emmanuel Wilson, 3 catches for 37 yards. Savion Williams, 3 for 22. Dontavion Wicks, 2 for 19. Malik Heath had a catch for 9. Luke Musgrave a catch for 6. Chris Brooks had a catch for only a yard. But you see here, guys, of those 31 receptions, his receivers averaged 10.9 yards per catch. Wild statistic there. Jordan Love was on fire last night. Now, this is another kind of grand poobah of analytics, as you can see here with the chart running vertically on the left side. You got EPA per play, which is an advanced metric that people love to use in terms of grading quarterbacks and how well they're playing. And then along the bottom, running horizontally, you got the PFF offensive grade. So it's saying, all right, not only are we just going to take PFF into account, we're also going to take EPA per play into account. Look where Jordan Love is, guys. He is higher on EPA per play than Josh Allen. He's leading the league in EPA per play, okay? EPA per play. He is higher than Josh Allen. He's higher than Sam Darnold, who's honestly in the MVP conversation once again this year with a second team. Dak Prescott, Matt Stafford. Look at all these names underneath him. Your Patrick Mahomes, is Baker Mayfield playing pretty good football as well. Look, there's Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert. Jordan Love's playing outside of his mind right now. And I'm telling you, it's going unnoticed by a lot of fans because we're all upset that they lose this game and everybody's over emotional. I'm as guilty as anyone. But you really got to slow down and go, okay, what are the key components to having a winning franchise, have a winning season, and have yourself in a position to make a playoff run? You've got to have quarterback, and you've got to have a head coach. You've got to have solid tackle play. That's a little iffy right now. We've got to get that buttoned up, right? You got to have good edge rushers. You got to have a good 3-tech. Those are the top priorities. Devontae Wyatt's injury could be huge. Might want to try to look if Wyatt's going to be out a significant amount of time. I haven't heard any details up to me going live here right now. But if Devontae Wyatt is banged up, what you're probably going to want to do is go out there and see if you can assess something on the market. If there's a team that's off to a slow start, maybe you can go grab you an extra 3-tech somewhere. It's either that, or I wouldn't mind to see them put either LVN or Rashawn Gary in at 3-tech. One of those two a little more predominantly. I wish we'd have seen that a little bit more last night when Devontae Wyatt left the game. And keep in mind, Warren Brinson will probably now be active if Wyatt does miss a significant amount of time for sure. So with that being said, again, He is in the upper right quadrant. He is the highest in EPA per play, and he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in PFF offensive grade here, according to this chart when it was put together. So again, why do we point all this stuff out, guys? We covered it, right? EPA per play and offensive grade. We talked about him spreading the ball around and being efficient, playing within the scheme, playing within the system, and getting the ball out in the right spot, right? We talked about, with the spray chart, goes hand in hand with it. And then we talked about all of these different measurements here and how Jordan is averaging out in essentially 4th place. So we've got a top 5 quarterback, boys and girls. It's time to acknowledge that. And listen, 40-40 tie, you love to have seen yourself get a dub last night. However, this is one of those things, nice little silver lining going into the bye week. I think Jordan Love's going to get better. Here's what's crazy is Jordan Love's not even playing his best football. Like Green Ranger says, he's in here telling people to leave. I love it, man. I don't understand the fans. And it's like they know how we fan here. They know we're going to look glass half full. If you guys want to go be miserable somewhere, go be miserable somewhere. And that's what Green Ranger's saying in there, whoever that knucklehead was in the chat. Like, if you just want to harp on the negative all the time, this ain't the channel for you. And I appreciate you swinging through. I really do. But I'm just being honest with you. I would rather be, I would want somebody to be up front with me. There's plenty of negative channels out there. You know what I do when I find those negative channels? I go, yeah, I'm not really interested in being depressed all the time as a Packer fan. I'm going to move along, find somebody that's actually breaking down the analytics and see what the true story is, as opposed to, all right, this went wrong. Let's fire that coach. Let's cut this player. Let's move on. Let's trade that guy. So that's just how we roll here. So I want to know everybody's thoughts in the comments. So let me know where you think Jordan Love ranks at this point. Is he truly a top 5 quarterback in your mind? Is he top 10? Right? I don't see how anyone can make the argument that he's outside of the top 10 right now, but I'm open ears. Let's hear what y'all have to say in the comments. We'll be back tonight for PTA Live at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. All right. And again, we're going to break down the PFF grades. We're going to give you guys in-depth analysis on what happened in that game, as well as when we get later in the week, we're going to be breaking down the tape as well. So make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you click that bell icon so you're notified when we do go live here moving forward. Again, this is PTA. My name's Clayton. We'll see y'all tonight.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.